exhale. We'll tune in with the Adi mantra, Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. We'll chant it 3 times on a long, deep breath. If it's unfamiliar to you, it's not a big deal. It's really tuning into ourselves and also to the group energy, even though we are distant at the moment. And you'll just do your best to listen and make the sounds. It's not, you know, it's more of a vibratory thing than singing very loud. So inhale, exhale, inhale to begin. Om Inhale deeply and relax the breath, gently releasing the posture. For the class, if you have blocks or any sort of props handy, things that you can make into a prop, you might want to strap. A blanket is a good idea. Hold on me. I'm trying to be able to see you guys. It would be a lot better if I could. Anyway, I'll keep working on that. But grab those things first and then come lying on your back with your knees bent. And once you arrive to the mat, the knees are bent, the feet are relaxed. You're going to just gently do some pelvic tilting by pushing the lower back into the floor and then releasing. So that could be your inhale, pushing the lower back into the floor and then releasing, or the opposite. Do what's natural again to your cadence of your breath. Thank you. Okay, sorry. I don't know at what point my muting happened, but you're lying on the floor and you're, oh, you guys can see. Nope. Sorry, I'm trying to figure it out. Nope. Okay. Okay. I'm going to forego seeing you guys for better audio. Sorry, guys. If you're on the floor, hopefully you've begun doing the pelvic tilts that I'm describing. Really gentle movement. We're just warming up the body before we begin. And one hand's on the heart and one hand's on the belly. Inhaling, tilting the pelvis by pushing the lower back into the floor. Exhaling, release. Inhaling and exhaling. It's a gentle wave, easy movement. Do 3 more on your own breath. And then we'll cross our right foot over our left thigh and make sure that we flex that foot up towards the ceiling, the toes towards the knee. And to whatever your capacity, you'll thread your hands through your legs to give yourself a hip stretch, using the right elbow to push the left thigh away and the right thigh away and the right thigh into that elbow for a nice traction and stretch. Inhaling and exhaling. I'm getting able to see everybody. It's a little better. Allow the tailbone to sink towards the floor for an even deeper stretch. But again, keeping it really gentle and very simple. And then release that side, placing the foot onto the floor. And now the other side. Same thing, flex the foot towards the knee, thread the hands through the legs, let the left elbow and the left thigh meet, gently giving traction between both. The breath is full, allowing the belly to be soft, allowing the jaw to relax as you relax your hips. And release that side. You can bring your knees in towards your chest and give yourself a hug, and then rock and roll up to easy seat, an easy pose seat. Okay. So sorry guys, I'm having extreme technical difficulties. So it'll be more like the Blair Witch Project of my face, but I want to be able to see you guys. Then, and I, you know, when I have to show you a pose or something, but for the most part, I should be able to talk you through. So you can roll up to a seat if you haven't already. Again, just slowly warming up the body before we start our Kriya, and I'll talk more about what our Kriya is and what we're going to be doing today. But for now, in the easy pose, and your legs can be super relaxed. They don't have to be a tight squeeze towards the body unless that's comfortable for you, or they can even be open. But we're just going to do some basic neck rolls, and you can do on your own, whichever to side. Just make sure that you do an even amount. I'm going to say 5. So you'll drop your chin towards your chest, but let the chest rise up to towards your chin, and keep the shoulders moving down the back of the spine towards the hips, and then begin rolling to one side, whichever you pick. Your ear will meet over the space of your shoulder, but keep reaching up through the collarbone so you're not collapsing into any of the space. And you can stop at any place where it feels, oh, I need to breathe here. And that's very nice. But again, a little mobility to the cervical spine, and allow the breath to almost be like a comb brushing the fibers of the neck muscles. So allowing yourself to deeply tenderize this sensation with the breath. Good. And keep the jaw relaxed. And when you've come to your 5 on your own count, then you'll switch to the other side, dropping the chin towards the chest, and also the chest rises up to meet the chin. And you can keep a slight tuck of the navel point in towards the spine, just to keep the heart balanced. Good. It feels so good already to just be with yourself and your body and allow yourself that space and not feel like you need to do anything more. And when you've done your 5, just come to face the camera so I know that you're done. Good. Good. And we'll do some just stretching of our shoulders before we begin. So we'll do an eagle arms. You will take your right arm and wrap it under the left. If you can't do full eagle arms of wrapping, this is fine wherever you can get to. But if you can touch the palms together, they touch. And you keep the shoulders down the back and lift the elbows up so they're parallel with your shoulders. And breathe here for 3 breaths on your own cadence. You can also round a little bit towards the back. That feels good in the upper back. But let this be a nice stretch for the shoulders. Again, using the breath to soften and allow the muscles to receive the oxygen they need to relax. Don't force or strain or push if it's too much for your shoulders at any time. Do a basic shoulder stretch where you reach your arm across your chest and pull gently. And then go ahead and switch sides after you've done the 3, again on your own breath. Really nice. And once you have finished your 3rd breath, we're going to come into cat-cow. So if you have blankets or it's helpful, even if you don't have sensitive knees per se, it's kind of luxurious to lay something underneath your knees, and we'll be getting the Kriya after this last warm-up. And it'll be nice to have the blanket or something. So in cat-cow, your hands are underneath your shoulders and your hips are over your knees. You're pushing down through the tops of your feet, and if you have any wrist issues, onto your fists is fine. To make sure that you don't have any wrist issues, push away from the floor with your hands like starfish and push into the bottoms, like the pads of your fingers underneath the fingertips. And begin using with the breath to synchronize, but inhaling, drop the pelvis, lifting up through the tailbone. Exhale, push the floor away and make it very active and release the neck and round up through the spine. Again, lingering in any place that feels really nice for you. Another way to deepen your cat-cow is to feel attraction of your hands pulling towards your knees energetically. Keep the shoulders moving towards the hips, down the back. Let the breath be full. Good. Okay, you can come sitting on your knees for a moment. If that's at all a problem for you, you can always pad or put a block underneath or something, but it's only for a second. I'm going to demonstrate and just talk to you, whatever is comfortable for you, whatever comfortable seat is for you. So we'll be working on intuition today, and this set is working on the pituitary glands on a physical level. It's a fairly relaxing set. There is some breath of fire in it, and I will walk you through breath of fire when we get there. The first pose, we're going to be in a lunge, and I'll demonstrate. If this lunge, it has so many modifications, so you don't need to go very deep, but I'll show you the full. We're going to start on our right side. So you'll bring your right foot in front and make sure that your knee is tracking over your ankle. So this could be the way that you do it. Ultimately, you could just stay up, because anytime we get the torso involved or we drop the hips, it's a little more weight in our joints. But this foot should feel like you're standing on it at all times. The full posture is with the left leg back and lifted while you're also on the top of the foot. Okay, that's the full one. Now you can have blocks. You can drop the knee and keep the hands at the hips for this portion of it. Okay, you can push down to the top of the foot. Energetically, you should feel like you're bringing your right foot, your heel, towards that back knee. So you're pulling that gently. I don't necessarily like to say pull, but pulling the right hip back so that your hips are in alignment towards whatever wall you're facing. So just wanted to go over some alignment elements before we begin. And we'll start with long, deep breathing in this posture. Again, if being up is too much, don't do it. Stay here, because we hold it for about 3 minutes ultimately. You'll begin long, deep breathing, arching the chest a little bit forward if you are in the full posture. Or here, still bringing the chest up, but keeping the ribs knitted in. Inhaling and exhaling fully and deeply. I'm just here to check you out, don't mind me. Very nice. The shoulders are soft down the back. Good. Good. Keep your focus. And now we'll begin breath of fire. You'll stay in this position. Listen carefully. You'll begin pumping your navel point, just like your belly button is dancing. Every time your navel point comes in, you exhale powerfully through the nose. And it does not need to be quick. So it can be quite slow and sounds like good. If at any point you need to come out of the lunge, gently come out of the lunge and just keep the breath going. You do what you can. Keep standing on that right foot and lifting up through the chest. Good. Draw the navel in and up and tuck the tailbone in. Good. Good adjustments, even I can see in the videos what I can see. I feel bad for the people that see this on recording after because it's literally just my nostrils they're seeing. Relax the shoulders down, a hint of a smile on your face. Another minute. Inhale. Exhale. You're going to slowly lower yourself down, and you may need to, it's ultimately a pigeon position, except we're not really coming with a parallel knee in front of us. It's kind of just tucked under our body, and we're coming down. If you can't come all the way down to place your head on the floor, a block or on your elbows or here is fine, but it is really nice if you can rest your head on something. So if you can put a bunch of pillows or stack your hands, and you're gonna rest here with your hands back towards your heels. If you can, palms up for the full expression. Super grounding. And just breathe here. We're here for 3 minutes as well. I think we often have a sort of misunderstanding that intuition necessitates some sort of precognition, some knowing. But ultimately, intuition is being able to listen to our own soul, to our own spirit, beyond our ego. And ego is not a negative thing. It's what protects us, and it's a structure that we interpret our reality with. But we have other ways to create and respond to our environments and our reality. So intuition is a great seed, a great spark of our own creativity and knowledge, and learning to stay close with it and listen instead of trying to fight it or control it, because when we do that, we tend to lose it. So I invite you here to give yourself the space to be your spirit and to not feel that that's like a honky thing, a silly thing, something you don't know anything about. You do very much know, even if I'm not articulating it necessarily in a way that resonates with you. Your breath will do that. The posture will do that. So give yourself the chance to drop in. Let the hips be heavy. Let the shoulders relax down. Let gravity do its job. Let the earth hold you. Bring your hands up towards your shoulders and slowly release coming out of the posture. We're going to switch to the other side. Move slowly and give yourself, if you need to give yourself a shake out of the knees, whatever you might need to translate to the other side. with intelligence and integrity for your body. And we'll come to the left again, like you're standing on that foot. There should be energy in it. Don't just collapse your knees and joints down. I'm pushing down through my foot. I like to do this with a dropped knee in front, a dropped back knee. But again, you can come up on that knee through. I'm gonna sneak over here, so maybe you can see it. No. But my foot's flat. But you can also do a fuller expression of it by coming up and lifting. But it's still like you're standing on that foot, and then I'm trying to parallel my hips towards the wall of where I'm facing, or my mat. But wherever you are, and any place is good. This is also super nice to keep your hands on your hips and sort of pull up on the hip bones to feel a nice stretch through your quads too. And you begin long, deep breathing here. Keep a little bit of an arch through the upper chest. Good. And if you have any questions at any time, feel free to unmute yourself and holler at me. In my regular classes, I encourage people to ask questions and to not feel like you are floating on your own yoga mat, self-consciously nonetheless. So in a very physical space, the pituitary gland, you can begin the breath of fire again. So begin pumping the navel point. Every time the navel point comes in, you'll exhale powerfully through the nose. I've been doing another Wim Hof, if you know who that is. I've been doing his practices, and I love a quote he says, "Let the body do what the body is capable of doing," and especially when we're talking about the breath. So let the body do what it's capable of doing, and sort of try your best to drop into your body and let the mind continue what it wants to do, but let the breath start to be what resonates your attention. Intuition is a great gift because it allows us to focus on the entirety of our being versus one thing that we're either obsessing about, or what our fears are, or our worries, or all of that. When we contain them in the entirety of our being, they don't take over our lives and dictate our identity or the way that we react in the situation. Inhale. Exhale, and again, we'll drop down onto that side now into sort of modified pigeon. If you need anything under your butt or other side of your hip, just stick a pillow or something that will make you feel that you can stay balanced and relaxed. And then again, anything that you can get. If you can't get your head down to relax and your hands back, just prop your hands up, prop some pillows up, put some blankets or whatever, cat, a dog, just whatever you got around, pull it in. And give yourself the time, again, it'll be 3 minutes here, to settle into the pose. The palms face back behind you if you can balance and relax that way. If not, your hands can stay where they are. On a very physical level, the pituitary gland is exactly what transforms our emotions and our ideas into actions in the body. The glands inform them. That's how the glands respond. They create the information between what the brain is wanting to do and the body doing it. So in a very real sense, the ability to go from the ego to the soul, the brain to the body, is all sort of being guarded by the health of our glands. And I hope that through the practice, you start to feel that you can have a new vision. And from that new vision, start making different choices. And once you start making different choices, that's when reality starts to change. It can be simple choices. It could be that you meditate for 3 minutes every day and see what that choice does for you. Or it could be waking up and giving yourself a compliment in the morning instead of dread, or reading the newspaper, or those things might cloud you. Staying close to the earth is definitely one way. And our meditation later, we will talk a little bit more about that and have an experience of what I mean. Allow the hips to be heavy. Allow the shoulders to be heavy. Allow the ribs to expand deeply out to the sides on your inhale. And your exhale, allow the navel to draw in and back towards the spine. Taking hold of your own divinity and the embodiment of your being in your body and the sensations around you, of the temperature in the room, of the breath moving through the nostrils, all of it an entry point into deeper awareness for yourself. Relax the jaw, soften the eyes. And inhaling, slowly bring your hands up towards your chest and gently come out of it in a way that makes sense for you, whether it's rolling to the side or picking up and swinging the legs around. We're going to come up into a forward bend. So it's very much just a, I can't really show you. I would rather walk you through it. But you're going to come, and if you need to bend your knees, bend them a lot. And you'll just come forward. Allow the shoulders to be relaxed down the back, so don't let them hike up towards your ears. And then allow the head to dangle from the upper back, the root of the neck. You can keep your hands on your knees, your shins, blocks, whatever feels good. You can hold your elbows, but push down through the floor evenly in your feet and continue long, deep breathing this way. And again, a lot of bend in your knees is good. It'll keep you from rounding your back, especially if you're tight in the hamstrings or having stiffness. And it doesn't matter how extreme that bend is. What you want to do is keep lengthening the front torso, keeping the ribs moving forward down the leg, even if bent, and allow the neck to relax. Inhaling and exhaling deeply. Feel that your breath is almost 3D. Bend your knees a lot instead of rounding your back and making your shoulders drop. Drop them. Drop the knees. Yes, very good. Nice. Bending the knees really helps release the spine. This modification is not a sign of weakness at all. Relax the neck down. Mm-hmm. Let it hang from the root of the neck, which is right between the shoulder blades. Except the trick is that the shoulder blades need to move back towards your hips. So you take the rounding out of the lower back and the shoulders. Even with your knees bent, you can contract the quadriceps a little bit, lifting the muscle off of the kneecap. This will help strengthen and lengthen through the body. Keep using the breath like that comb, brushing the fibers of any tightness through the body. Soften the eyes, relax the jaw. Okay. Less than a minute to go. Inhaling, slowly roll up. You can use your hands to drape across the front of your knees. And stay standing, even if I can't see you. Hope you can see me for this next one. We're going to do a breath of fire again, but this time our hands are going to be outstretched, but your fingers will come into the pads of your palm, and your thumb will stick straight out. And then you'll be at 30 degrees, so just a little bit higher, and keep the shoulders away from the ears. You'll be standing for it. I'm standing just to keep myself in the view and to be able to see you guys. But you'll begin now the breath of fire. You can look straight ahead and begin pumping the navel point and hold the posture. Every time your navel point comes in, exhale powerfully through the nose. Breath of fire is super oxygenating to the blood. It's a way of helping the heart to relax as the diaphragm pumps in and up on the lungs and pushes and puts a little pressure on the heart center. Good. And just use your heart center to keep the arms up, shoulders away from the ears, maintaining a tender space between the shoulders and the ears. And fight any inclination to just want to put your hands down. You can certainly do this. It's not that long. And let go of the breath of fire and do long, deep breathing. Root down into your feet. Rotate the thighs in towards each other. Lift the heart center up. Knit the lower rib cage in towards the body. Navel point in towards the spine. Allow the inhales to widen the back. And the exhale to lengthen the spine. Every breath has a purpose. Inhale. Exhale, slowly release. We're going to make our way into a downward facing dog. I will talk you through the postural points instead of getting into it myself, because I think for the most part you all know what a downward facing dog generally looks like. But you can come into it any way that you'd like. So if you need to come from a cat-cow, whatever makes sense. But you'll bend the knees when you get there a little bit, so you don't have to have straight legs immediately. You guys know what I mean? Like this. Okay. And your hands and feet will be pushing away from the floor. Focus on the length of the front torso again. Rotate the upper arms in towards each other. So rotate the armpits in towards each other. Ground down through the fingertips by pushing the forearms into the floor. We're staying here for long, deep breathing. To help take some of the weight out of the arms and the wrists, you're going to engage your quadriceps again by lifting up, contracting the quadriceps and lifting up through the kneecap. And rotate the thighs in towards each other. You can bend the knees a lot if you need to, and the heels are inclined towards the floor, but they don't need to touch the floor. If they don't, they don't. Keep spreading the fingertips wide. Allow the neck to fully release. And pull the navel point in towards the spine and resist the sensation to banana the back or to pop the ribs out. Again, knit the ribs in towards the lower ribs in towards each other. The tailbone is reaching up towards the crease of the ceiling behind you. Shoulders are drawn back towards the hips. So just like when we were in the forward fold, we were letting the root of the neck be long and heavy without the shoulders following through a roundness. We want to bring the shoulders back and glide them towards the hips. And absolutely, if at any point you need to come out of it, come into a child's pose. When you start to hold postures a little bit longer, what seems to be simple becomes very complicated, from a forward fold to just an easy seat. It's worthwhile to explore and to find the structural alignment through the breath. I know we often think that if we just get into the pose, we'll find our breath after, but it's actually the breath that should start the form. So keep letting it be long and full and deep. Try to breathe all the way into the space between the pubic bone and the tailbone, keeping it very soft. Inhale, exhale, slowly lower your knees to the floor. We're going to come lying onto our stomach for Cobra pose. If Cobra pose is not an accessible pose to you, and I'll walk you through the points. Sphinx is really nice, where you're on your elbows and your elbows are parallel. And I'll walk you through the points of it while in Sphinx, because I think that for the majority of people, it's a good choice to make and you still get all the benefits. So immediately you want to push through the tops of your feet behind you. This will lift your kneecaps off the floor. Your thighs and your pubic bone should stay on the floor at all times through this. You want to soften any clenching in the buttocks. So if you strengthen your legs to the top of the feet, you won't need to cut off through the buttocks, which would ultimately just squeeze the sacrum a little too much. We don't want to do that. This is a heart opening posture. So the hands on the floor feel like they're energetically pulling back towards your feet. The shoulders stay away from the ears, so no dropping down or hunching to try and get in, but roll them down. And this may be enough. It's very active once you're in it in a structural, with structural integrity. If it feels good for you, you can come into a little bit more of a traditional Cobra. You'll be thinking the same situation, but only go up as high as you can without taking the pubic bone off the floor and without crunching the back, which for me is, I'm in Sphinx today because I felt that too much in my lower back. So keeping the shoulders down, you'll stay here, long, deep breathing for a moment, relax the stomach, but resist the urge to again pop out the ribs. Want this more, the sternum lifting up towards the ceiling than trying to get the ribs to pop out. There's length through the spine all the way from the tailbone through the top of the head. And then you're going to begin inhaling to the left, a gentle turn of the neck. Your eyes can be open or closed. And exhale to the right. Super slow. Inhaling to the left and exhaling to the right. And we'll do this for about 2 minutes. So really don't whip your neck around. Gentle. Do your best to distribute the back bend evenly through the back. Now come to center. Stay where you are and listen carefully. Inhale. You're going to squeeze the rectum, sex organ, and navel in and up. It's an internal lock. And then exhale. I will do that 2 more times. Inhale. Squeeze the rectum, sex organ, and navel, called Mulban, the root lock. hold, release, and one more time, inhaling, squeeze, move on, and release. Okay. So if you have any issues with your knees, you can do this. Ultimately, you don't need to sit on your knees very long, but you can just stay a little bit lifted with your toes curled. You can put a block underneath your seat or a pillow. We're going to be doing a motion. It's very simple, but very beautiful. And to the extent that you need to, we'll be bending forward a little bit. And if you need to, I would love for you to be able to touch your forehead to the ground in some way. And if you can't get to the floor, then maybe you can bring the floor to you in some manner. But what we're going to be doing is inhaling. You're going to rise up, lifting with the hips, pushing down through the floor. At the same time, your arms will come up. And then exhale, you come forward, bringing the head to the floor or something that it can touch or close to with that intention. And this motion we'll be doing for 3 minutes, so you can go at your own pace, however slow. It's meant to sort of mimic a flower that's opening. Continue. Keep doing it. Good. Nice. Take your time and don't rush through it. Our need to move quickly often satisfies a sense of that we're going to get there and we're be done with it, and just allow yourself to move slowly. This way you can start to feel more. And once you feel more, you'll understand yourself better. Keep going. Inhaling up and exhaling down. We often imagine that the big changes in our life require a significant amount of pain and suffering, and that is just not the case. Sometimes it is as simple as just being with yourself and accepting whatever is before you and the simplicity of it. Often it's ourselves that complicate unnecessarily. Allow gradual change to be something that you admire. And do one more, and then you can relax on your heels. Then we have one last posture to do. If you have a strap or you need something for your shoulders, grab it. Ultimately, we're going to be interlacing the hands behind the back. If that's too much for your shoulders, elbows is an option. A strap is an option, holding a towel, holding anything so that you can keep a wideness in the shoulders. And then you're going to keep the knees apart, so just the toes are touching. And again, you can sit on something if that's too much. And you can lean forward as far as you can, propping up the head as needed so that your forehead comes on something. And you'll just be here for 3 minutes. Again, breathing deeply and allowing the shoulder blades to soften. Do the best that you can. Don't strain the shoulders just to get into the position. Pick a modification that works for you that's sustainable. Allow the hands to drop as much towards the floor as possible. Whatever way that you're doing it, it's good. As long as you keep breathing. Allow the hips to be heavy on the heels. Nice. If at any time the shoulders become too much, just stay into a regular baby pose. There's a quote from Yogi Bhajan about intuition from a lecture. Not a quote, it's a little bit of an excerpt. Intuition will always tell you what will protect you and what is best for you. If you are not intelligent, you will slide into some pit where you cannot come out. Intuition can only tell you. Intelligence can really work it out, and caliber is what will create a proper impact so you will not suffer. Intuition is your basic right, and you all know what it is, and you all know what is going on. Intelligence is to figure it out and impact it, and impact is what you have to understand. That is everlasting. Intuition is a guidance which will always be supported by the entire universe and Mother Nature. Your fear will totally put you in a cage for nothing. Your fears are your enemies, and your intuition will always tell you correctly. If you prefer your fear over your intuition, forget it. And that's a tough leap for sure. To start to trust your intuition over your fear. That is a big leap of faith for many people. And similarly, like intuition being thought of as only as precognition or some sort of mysterious ability, truth is often thought of as just an honest expression. But truth is so much more, right? We know that reality deeply. We know what truth is. And an entry point to express that truth and to live that truth is to start to recognize your own divine nature and not question it, not feel silly about it, not feel self-conscious about it. Inhale. Exhale, slowly roll up. We'll take a brief Shavasana, like 3 minutes, just to reset our body and allow everything to integrate. So come flip on your back like a pancake, hands up, legs out. A quick scan of the body for any places that you're holding tension. Let the hips release. Let the shoulder blades relax. Let the stomach soften. Inhaling deeply into the heart space. Exhaling, allow the breath to leave through the feet. Eyes are closed. Relax, relax, relax. Inhale, begin to slowly wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate the hands at the wrists and the feet at the ankles in both directions. Inhaling, bring the arms above the head and take a nice big stretch like you're waking up from the most peaceful, restorative nap. Bring the right leg in towards the chest. Guide it over towards the left with the right hand outstretched for a spinal twist, bringing the breath all the way down into the lower spine. With ease, moving through our emotions and the space that we created. And you can switch sides. Bringing the left knee in towards the chest, guiding it over towards the right, gently keeping both shoulders on the ground as possible. And release to the center. You'll begin rubbing the palms together and the soles of the feet vigorously to create some warmth. I love that in some cameras I can only see toes. It's great. Bring your knees in towards the chest. And rock and roll along the spine a few times to come up to a seat. We'll do a brief meditation. It's actually from a book that I highly recommend called The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo. And he doesn't necessarily have formal meditations in it, but there are some guided ones, and it goes through the year. And for every day, there's a different quote and something that he shares. And so I'll share today's with you, and we'll also do the meditation, which I felt was applicable to our practice. So here it is. It starts with a quote from William Blake. Quote, "The cutworm forgives the plow. The worm is the only creature that grows from being cut. Mysteriously, if you cut a worm in two, each cut half becomes whole, and you have two worms. What is it in how the worm lives that allows it to grow from its pain? And how might we translate that to being human? Well, without looking too far, the worm is completely in touch with the earth. In fact, it eats earth. It lives in the humus, the soil, inside and out. Perhaps the secret to growing from our wounds is to live close to the earth, to live with our hearts and minds and bellies always in touch, both inside and out, with that which is larger than we are. Perhaps when cut in two, it is a life of humility, of risking to be at one with the soil of our experience that allows us to heal into something entirely new." So go ahead and close your eyes if you haven't already. Center yourself. You can do this by focusing on the breath. You can do this by feeling the sensations of your body. And begin to meditate with kindness. Okay, might be the first time doing it with kindness. Meditate with kindness on a place where you feel cut into. Staying close with the breath, inhale deeply and bring the universal air to this raw and tender place. Stay with the rhythm of the breath. Inhaling deep and full as you can. Let the elements infuse your wound with the atoms of a new beginning. Stay with the breath and release as needed. Inhaling and exhaling, knowing that you are capable of healing yourself. And maybe you can see with new vision yourself in this new reality. Maybe you get a glimpse. Maybe you don't yet see it. Maybe you just feel it. Either way, intuition will certainly guide you. You can release the meditation now. And we'll tune out together with one long Sat Nam. Sat is truth, Nam is identity. Bring your hands together at the center of your chest. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Inhale to begin. Sat Nam. Peace to all, light to all, love to all. Say it with me. Peace to all, light to all, love to all. Sat Nam. Thank you so much for showing up and practicing. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties, but I'm happy to be here with you and happy to see you all. Shout out to my mom, finally coming to my class. If anybody has any questions, I'll hang for a second here. If not, I hope you enjoy your day, the rest of your night, ultimately, and a new Memorial Day weekend that we're gonna have. A new kind.
You know, the cats enjoyed too. Both cats enjoyed your class as well. You were in here.
Yeah, there's always cats, and that's my favorite part. I actually miss having a cat for that reason, because they always come around. Or a dog, but you know, cats, yeah, they love it. They love it.
They like the
Something
map.
To be said for it.
That's the map.
Oh, that's
It's adorable.
How's everybody else doing?
Doing great.
Good?
Yeah, the technical difficulties were not so bad. Don't worry about it.
I know, but so I finally now I have my computer up. It's not, the video's not working. I'm using the video on my camera, but I wanted to be, it's helpful for me to see everybody on some level. And then I feel like I can, you know, so that was hard to me. But, hi, Kitty.
Oh, God.
He wanted to be seen on some level.
Well, I mean, what cat doesn't? They're beautiful creatures. Let that be you on your next meeting, just close to the camera. I have to say that being on Zoom nowadays, like probably in the past I would, you know, make sure I look perfect if I was going to take a selfie or I was going to be on a video chat. Now I'm like, it's not that I don't care, but it's just like, how much can you keep up an elaborate, you know what I'm saying? Like, but you want to communicate with people, right? So it's like, forget it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the practice and start to take it slow. I think it's difficult to trust one's intuition without the proper nourishment, but you do have tools that are available to you, and you know, it's definitely a practice and a life skill. You know, I wish it was something they taught in school, but you know, maybe that will change too. Who knows? All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, Mom.
Bye.
I'm going to play with AJ's toys. I have the
I
kitchen.
know, good. Okay.
Night, honey.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
See you in 2 weeks. Bye.